The rain pounded heavily on the rusted corrugated roof of the dilapidated maternity ward in a forgotten village near Aba, southeastern Nigeria. Inside, Amina writhed on a stained mattress, sweat soaking through her faded wrapper. She was barely 18, her eyes wide with fear and shame as the cries of her newborns pierced the humid air. 2 girls. Twins. The midwife, Mama Ejike, looked at the babies with pity. "They are beautiful," she said softly, cleaning their fragile bodies with boiled rainwater. But Amina didn't look. She had already turned her face to the wall. Her mother had warned her. Getting pregnant for Chike, a university dropout known for his sweet lies and empty promises, was foolish. And when he vanished the moment her belly started to show, her shame multiplied. Her father, a respected church elder, had kicked her out. "You're no longer my daughter," he spat. And so, there she was, alone, broken, and humiliated. When Mama Ejike placed the twins in her arms, something twisted in Amina's chest. But the fear of judgment and poverty was greater than maternal instinct. She looked down at them, then away, unable to name them. "I can't keep them," she whispered, almost choking on the words. "Please, take them." The midwife's eyes widened. "Amina, no. Take them. If I leave here with them, I'm finished." The next morning, under the cover of dawn, Amina slipped away, leaving behind only a torn wrapper and a note that simply read, "Forgive me." The twins were taken in by a struggling Christian orphanage run by the Reverend Sister Mercy, a strong-willed woman known for her love for abandoned children. Years passed. The twins, now named Zora and Zina, grew up inseparable. They had the same round cheeks, the same stubborn chin, and a fire in their spirit that refused to be dimmed by poverty. Even from a young age, they showed a brilliance that startled everyone around them. While other children played with sticks, Zora was disassembling old radios, and Zina was sketching business plans in the sand with her finger. By the time they were 16, the sisters had launched their first online thrift store using a second-hand phone donated to the orphanage. At 18, their fashion brand Twin Flame went viral after a Nollywood actress was photographed in one of their designs. No one knew where they came from. No one asked. But in the city of Lagos, the name Twin Flame was on every influencer's lips. Meanwhile, in another part of Nigeria, Amina lived in a small rented room in Onitsha, working as a roadside food seller. She never married. Never had other children. But the memory of those twin cries on that stormy night haunted her. Sometimes, she'd hear news of 2 stylish young women who had taken the fashion world by storm. And though their faces on the billboard were unfamiliar, something about their eyes stirred an ache in her heart. But she never imagined they could be hers. Amina's days blurred into routine. Rise before dawn, cook by lantern light, and serve steaming plates of rice and stew to weary traders along the bustling Onitsha road. But every so often, her heart would pause, like the day she saw a glossy magazine lying abandoned on a bus seat. On the cover were 2 young women, dressed in fierce Ankara couture, smiling confidently. Zora and Zina. The name Twin Flame shimmered beneath their faces. Amina stared, transfixed. Her breath caught. Something primal stirred deep inside her. Their resemblance to Chike, those cheekbones, that arch of the brow, was impossible to ignore. Her hands trembled as she flipped through the pages, reading about their Billionaire'S brand, their global fashion shows, their philanthropy towards orphanages. Could it be, she whispered aloud, earning a strange glance from the woman beside her. That night, Amina couldn't sleep. The past she'd buried clawed its way up, dragging guilt with it. She hadn't told anyone, not even the priest during confession, that she had abandoned her children. The shame was too great. But now, if those twins were hers, she needed to know. Not for money. Not for fame. But to see them. To say sorry. To hear them call her mama, even once. She took a leap of faith. Amina traveled to Lagos with only a small nylon bag and the magazine as her compass. The city was overwhelming, noisy, fast, unkind. But she found her way to the Twin Flame office in Lekki. A sleek glass building, guarded by polished security officers who looked her up and down with suspicion. "I need to speak with Zora and Zina," she said, voice shaking. I am their mother." The guards frowned. "Madam, not today way dem get like 5 fake mama. If you no come at now, I go call Lasma for you." She tried again the next day, and the next. Each time, turned away. Laughed at. Ignored. Meanwhile, inside that very building, Zara and Zina were preparing for their biggest fashion launch yet, a collaboration with a Paris designer. The world saw them as unstoppable icons. But behind their bold designs and polished confidence, they longed for something missing. A mother. A connection. Not the kind found in adoption papers, but in blood, in soul. They didn't know why they felt drawn to the village, why they kept dreaming of stormy nights and a soft voice whispering, "Forgive me." One day, Zina stumbled across a blog post, a photo of a crying woman clutching a Twin Flame magazine, standing outside their office gate, captioned, "Another wannabe mama shows up." Zina paused. There was something in the woman's eyes. A sorrow, a truth. She showed Zora. What if? Zora scoffed but looked closer. The ache returned. Could it really be her? But they had a show in 24 hours. No time for ghosts. No time for maybes. As they took the runway in glittering gold, outside in the shadow stood Amina, watching from behind the crowd barrier. Her eyes filled with tears, not of pride, but of distance. She had found them. But she couldn't reach them. Weeks passed. Amina didn't return to Onitsha. She remained in Lagos, sleeping on benches, eating scraps, just to stay close. She watched from afar as her daughters graced TV screens, gave interviews, and smiled into camera flashes. She never dared try the gate again. One day, on the verge of giving up, she visited a church in Surulere. Kneeling before the altar, she broke down. "God, if they were never mine, let me forget. But if they are, please, let them know." After service, an old priest approached. She poured out her story, trembling, ashamed. The priest listened quietly and then said, "Sometimes, we cannot walk back through the door we closed. But we can leave behind a window of truth." Inspired by his words, Amina used her last money to buy paper and a pen. She wrote a letter, long, raw, honest. In it, she told the whole story, the shame, the fear, the abandonment. She described the night they were born, the names she almost gave them, Adiz and Kayamika. She didn't ask for forgiveness. She didn't ask for anything. She only wanted them to know. She slipped the letter into an envelope and mailed it to the Twin Flame office. "Attention, Zora and Zina." 2 weeks passed. No reply. Then one morning, Zora opened her laptop to find a scanned letter emailed to the company's general inbox. Curious, she clicked. As her eyes moved over the handwriting, she froze. Zina, seeing her sister's pale expression, rushed over. Together, they read every word. They were silent for a long time. That night, they couldn't sleep. The puzzle pieces fit, the note left at the orphanage, the memory of the midwife's voice, the dreams they'd both had of a stormy birth night. The ache they'd carried all their lives finally made sense. They went looking. It took 2 days to find the church. The priest smiled. "She was here," he said gently. "But I fear, she's gone." "Gone where?" They checked hospitals, shelters, markets, until finally, at a roadside stall in Yoba, they found her sitting quietly, folding akara into brown paper. Older, thinner, but those eyes, they were the same. Zora stepped forward. "Excuse me," she said. Amina looked up. Her mouth parted, but no words came. Zina knelt by her feet. "Mama." Amina burst into tears. Not dramatic sobs. Silent, heavy weeping from a place no one had touched in decades. The sisters hugged her, and for the first time in her life, Amina felt whole. They didn't bring her into their mansion or announce her to the press. No fancy headlines or viral videos. Instead, they rented her a small apartment. Visited every Sunday. Took her to church. Called her Imama and asked her to name their new fashion line. She chose Aidichi, the names she once whispered but never said aloud. Amina had missed their childhood, their triumphs, their first words. But she had found forgiveness. Because sometimes, life doesn't give second chances. But it does offer unexpected grace. And for anyone watching, abandonment, shame, and mistakes don't have to be the end of the story. They can be the beginning of redemption.